Tomorrow is the South Carolina primary, and last night the candidates had one last chance to make their mark during a national debate. And with what looks like a battle between Mitt Romney and Newt Gingrich, Rick Santorum tried to make up ground by attacking the two frontrunners.
I've been fighting for health reform, private sector, bottom up, the way America works best for 20 years. Well, these two guys were playing footsies with the left.
Joining us to discuss this highly important debate is Joe Williams. He's a reporter for Politico. Thanks for being with us, Joe.
Hi, my pleasure.
So who did best in last night's debate?
Well, it's hard to tell. If you were a Santorum person, you saw your candidate come out like Joe Frazier used to say. He came out smoking. He was very much on the attack. A lot of it was fact-based, sustained attacks against not only the front runner, Mitt Romney, but also against the number 2 man, Newt Gingrich. And that seemed to bring the crowd to his side. But overall, it didn't seem to change the dynamic very much because although Santorum got a lot of response for some of his answers, he didn't seem to really connect in the way that Gingrich did in the last debate.
Speaking of Gingrich, one of the biggest moments of the debate was when Newt Gingrich was asked about the ABC story that claimed he asked his ex-wife for an open marriage. We want you to listen to that question.
As you know, your ex-wife gave an interview to ABC News and another interview at the Washington Post, and this story has now gone viral on the internet. In it, she says that you came to her in 1999, at a time when you were having an affair. She says you asked her, sir, to enter into an open marriage. Would you like to take some time to respond to that?
No, but I will. I think the destructive, vicious, negative nature of much of the news media makes it harder to govern this country, harder to attract decent people to run for public office, and I am appalled that you would begin a presidential debate on a topic like that.
All right, Joe. Now, some have said that is going to hurt him. Others say he may have actually won South Carolina from that answer. What's your opinion?
Well, basically, we've already known that Newt Gingrich has had more baggage than O'Hare Airport on Christmas Eve. I mean, basically, it's been out there that he's had several personal problems in his relationship, and that's no secret. But the answer that he gave, you'll notice he very carefully avoided blaming his ex-wife for that answer, for giving the interview, and more pointedly picked on the media, which is one of his strong suits, saying that it was their fault for bringing this to light, when basically his wife was saying that this indicates something about his character, and as we know, character is important in political campaigns. But nonetheless, that crowd was on his side with that answer because it pointed out his advantage, which is that he's against the elites, as he likes to call them, and the media and the establishment, and for the common man. And that seemed to resonate with the crowd.
Well, one of the other controversial moments was when all the candidates were asked about their tax returns. Newt Gingrich released his just minutes before the debate. Rick Santorum said he would do it today. Ron Paul basically says he's not going to release them. Mitt Romney says he will do it, but around April. So will this become a serious issue for any of the candidates?
It's going to be an issue that's going to dog Romney, I believe, mainly because the answer that he gave was kind of a windy, sort of evasive answer. And when he said that he would not follow suit with his father, or he suggested that he wouldn't follow suit with his father and release multiple years, the crowd got on a little bit, and he backtracked and said, well, yes, I guess I'll probably release more than 1 year. How many, I don't know. When, probably around tax season, when presumably he'd have the nomination wrapped up. But he's going to have to answer for that more than once because it was a clear opportunity for other candidates to get in on that kind of an action. And it also is going to not go away because you heard reporters ask about it today. They asked about it the day before. It's going to keep coming up until he puts it to rest.
So who do you think won the debate, and who do you think is going to win South Carolina?
Well, I think that overall, Rick Santorum, oddly enough, was the guy who came out looking best because he was very assertive, was issuing a lot of facts, and seemed to stick it to both Gingrich and Romney. Romney, on the other hand, was flustered a bit by the tax issue, didn't really get knocked off kilter. Gingrich was his usual combative self, assertive when he needed to, except when Santorum knocked him off balance when talking about the ethics scandal that Gingrich was embroiled in the 80s. So overall, Santorum had a good night. Whether or not it's enough to move the needle remains to be seen.
So you're still thinking Romney's going to take it in South Carolina?
I'm thinking that Romney still has the edge, even with all the all the issues surrounding Gingrich, it's unseemly, but it's unlikely to change anybody's opinion of him, and he's still pretty much playing the populist card to great effect in South Carolina. And this is one of the reasons why debates are kind of tricky, because you don't get a lot of follow-up. There's a lot of posturing. No real issues are clarified. It's mostly about responses and trying to stay on message as much as possible.
All right, quickly, one last thing. If Romney does win South Carolina, will any of the other candidates stay in the race?
I think you'll see Gingrich stay in the race, because with him it almost seems like it's personal, and that's working for him. I mean, nothing focuses the mind like a vendetta, you might say, because he got stepped on by Romney in Iowa. He's not forgetting that. He's got the money to carry on and the support, I believe.
All right, Joe Williams, thanks so much for your insight.
My pleasure.